Y'all gotta eat y'all's popcorn with me. You need me to open it for you? Hold on. Hold on.
Miss Rose still work at Convict?
Man, this stuff is so good. It's double cheese. Hold on. Now, do y'all know that police officers are your friends?
Yeah.
Police officers love you and care about you. Okay, here we go. That's yours. Who else will me open theirs? How you doing, young lady? You know my name?
I love it.
Police Officer Norman. All right. How's everybody's day going? I love you too. That made my day. That made my day. Huh? Huh? No.
Look, officer, it ain't the cheese. Shout out to Officer Norman, right? I like this, right? Back in the day, they say before my time was the 80s and 90s when it was a war on drugs. But before that, what I used to hear was officers walking the beat, swinging the night set, getting to know the community, right? Hey, that's Miss Barbara. And Miss Barbara's son is Fats, right? And he watched Fats grow up, and he watched him go from playing baseball and basketball to, catching him smoking cigarettes, to him stealing something out the store, and he was able to help course correct, right? Without him having to throw his whole life away with the conviction, swear things up with the store, and actually ended up getting a job at the store. The good old days when you hear different stories about what they call policing, right? But then policing became this head skull cracking thing when we thought it was normal. If you run from the police, you get caught, you get beat up. To as though if you did run, which we always did, especially if we was dirty in the projects, the housing authority, police pull up in the hole, we dirty, we running. Everybody run in different directions. So they would mobilize in a way that they try to get us at all the openings. And if you're familiar with any projects, it's like a maze. So when you get caught, you get fucked up. A lot of times they'll just fuck you up and let you go. But that was the norm, right? Now we live in a day and age of the internet and people making videos and putting videos of themselves up, right? And it helps to demonize people, ordinary people, to as though now you could, just because the way you look, you could be mistaken for a thug just because of what people assume you to be. And then you get cases where the police do some crazy shit, end up shooting and killing a kid. They got a scholarship and they try to say, well, he was just like, it was this, it was that. And it wasn't either. But anyway, before I go too far down the slippery slope, I think this is dope what Officer Norman is doing. And I think he's bringing back a form of policing, especially in the cities and different communities where people just need to get to know the people in general, regardless of color. This could be a black officer, a Spanish officer, someone of Asian descent, whatever, right? But just getting to know the community you police. Because the problem is that people police communities that they are not familiar with, and they assume everybody as number one male. This could be Jamal going to the store and get grabbed up in the sweep going to the store. Or somebody coming home from work who had a bad day, may have stopped in the bar, grabbed the beers in the brown paper bag, and they jump out on you because you look like everybody else in your community. If it's a certain kind of community and everybody living in it, you gonna look like a person in your community. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. So I like this. And honestly, the little kid asked him what's his name. He said his name was Police. Then he said, no, I'm Officer Newman, excuse me. I think this should be done in the reverse though. We need the police to love the people. We need them to care about the people. And granted, I know a lot of the police deal with the worst of the worst on a daily basis, but they ask the question, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? And what I mean by this is that it's already lines drawn in the sand when it comes to the relationship between people that live in the neighborhood and the police, right? And it's just night and dark, good and bad, friend or foe, whatever the opposites are of each other, that's it. So maybe the police, because they're in the position of authority, give the olive branch to some level to try to change the relationship with ordinary people, like walking the beat, um, being out there in the morning when the kids going to school, right? Walking the beat, saying good morning to the kids and the parents, getting in the cars, driving to work. Because a lot of times the community may have a handful of whatevers, but the community itself is still a community, and it's just the subculture of the community. People out here that's doing what they got to do to survive, right? It might not be right, but that's just the reality of it. But getting to know who's who and who's not, right? And then when you identify who's not, you know how to deal with these problems, right? Prime example, like if you a serviceman, any type of field, the first thing you got to do before you can solve a problem is diagnose it. You got to see what's wrong. Oh, it's not this, it's not that. Process of elimination, right? And when you figure out what's wrong, you go to proceed to fix the problem. But if we go to a job as a serviceman or some type of mechanic and treat the whole HVAC equipment or the whole vehicle as the problem, how's we solving anything? So when you got police walking the beat, getting to know the people, right, and not busting their heads everybody and make everybody hate them, you're gonna have a different situation. When they're there, right, and they know little Jamal, you know, you see the Jamal start to go down the slippery slope of doing things he ain't supposed to do, stealing out the store. Now you bring him back to the store. You get the parents involved. Then now you kind of like, how's Jamal doing in school? You might see another problem. Jamal might be getting abused and not being fed, and it's not that he's a criminal. Then you could take the proper actions, right? There's a lot of different things going on when you got all these people packed in together, and you got poverty. And then what you'll come to realize is that these people are just like me. They just like everybody. Instead of always demonizing the people, and it's important to be able to demonize people. If you going in there with the head busting mentality and you want to shoot, and write it off to a code, right? And justify the shooting, these are still people. I am a person. And another thing, you know, you got the police just sitting in the cars all day. And I don't know. It's just my thought process is like, I just want one chance, right? And maybe I could fix the problem. I see kids out here today, and yesterday, right? Two different situations, right? Going down Martin Luther King Boulevard, my car, it's traffic, right? And everybody like trying to like get around this car, but there's a lot of traffic, so it's hard to go to the left or the right, whatever. And when I finally got by, I seen this white lady look harmless as hell. Somehow she got trapped up with the Squeegee boys. These Squeegee boys in particular looked like they was in their 20s. And she looked like he was held hostage. And like she ain't know no better. She ain't know to say no. Right? And you know, they was trying to get some money from her. It's one on one, both sides of her. Drive off. Today, I seen younger kids doing the same thing, right? But not aggressive. They was like maybe no older than 13, 14, maybe younger than that. One got the bottle, one got the squeegee. They walking down both sides of the car. You know, seeing if anybody say, yeah, they wash the windows, get a dollar or two, and they you know, they move on to the next car. Whatever. But if you got the police walking the beat, right? You know, enforcing minor infractions, not necessarily by locking people up, by running these kids off, right? And not just by see, I said that wrong. It's not a just run a kid off type of thing. These kids need opportunities. If I was the mayor and I ran the department, I will focus in on them young people like that, the older ones and the young ones. Now you only can help who you can help, right? But these young ones obviously probably have no education, right? They probably dropped out of school for whatever reason, right? Because nobody was there to catch these problems early. See, what people don't understand is this has a genesis. It has a beginning. Who knew? Who knows what type of household or guidance people had, right? And we just can't just kick people away in society and say fuck them, because if you do, it's just going to become a bigger problem down the line, either life in prison or killing somebody or taking something, hurting somebody. How do we avoid that? Now, this is why I get a little liberal, because I'm not liberal. But I'll say this: as we waste enough money on other shit, we put these guys in GED programs, right? We and not just throw them in a program where we don't know what level of education they have, right? We may have to reteach these guys and girls, and from there we funnel them into the trades, maybe, or some type of job, whatever suits them. Everybody can't be in the trades, right? Restaurant, washing dishes, who knows? Cyber security, who knows what type of individuals or type of mindsets that people have that they never got a chance to explore them because their circumstances is what they were. It's for the older ones. Now for these kids, now we need to look into the younger ones that's out here. They just want something to do. We need what's going on with summer jobs. Now it's not the summer, right? But these kids obviously want to make a buck the honest way. They not harass nobody like the first story I told. But these guys are really, try to run a business of their own. And back in the day, we did stuff like that. We bagged groceries. We knocked on doors to cut grass or take trash out. And when it snowed, we shoveled people's snow. So it's not a crime in it. It just became a nuisance because of like the first story I told you, as though the younger guys who started it now looking crazy, and older guys found out that you could actually make a lot of money doing it. It made it a problem. Imagine how many times a light turns red, right? And then you standing on a real busy corner, both sides. When one light turns red, another one turns green. So you're working both sides and you're getting money. If you can make $5 each light, $2, that's all day. You go as a kid, you're gonna come home with a pocket full of money, bunch of candy, frozen cups, and skins on Fortnite. And they even take Cash App, some of them. But we just need to come up with something to make sure these kids are getting educated, make sure home is okay, and funnel that right mindset when it comes to entrepreneurship in the right direction, and make sure the things that it takes to do this the legal way. We're have some type of afternoon program where we got volunteers. We give them some type of tax write-off. People from different business owners come in and sit down and talk to these kids at a rec center that they claim are closed but are not, at a rec center in their neighborhood, and let them ask questions and stuff like that and plant the seed. But back to the policing, I just think that maybe when it comes to this, if people eyes are there, caring eyes are there early on, and identifying with the young kids like this, I think that we could really have something where we could kind of stop problems before they start. I think that's the direction we need to go with policing. And seeing this, with the climate of people just getting killed by the police, black and white, they just sensationalize the black deaths, because there's a lot of just the history of the country, and the media loves it. The either or is wrong when people don't get to make it to court or whatever, and you demonize people to justify it, or you think that because you're so conservative and right is right and wrong is wrong, when they kill other people, nobody cares, right? But killing is killing, and we need to stop it, right? I get it. They get put in situations where they might have to, right? But not all the time. Let people go to court. Luckily, I didn't get killed by the police. I got to go to court and I got to change my life. Now I'm a dad and I'm out here. I advocate for the young kids out here, and I want to see them get an education. I want to see them grow up and have a future. I want to see them become part of society and participate in society in a way that's beneficial for everybody and everybody around them, to change the lives of all the people in their lives, man. And I think we can. And it don't start with policing; it starts with family. And it, you know, nobody's born with everything, right? Life ain't fair. I grew up down the projects. I remember government cheese and those white boxes of raisins they used to give us, right? Shit, I remember powdered milk, and that was my starting point, right? That's not the starting point for my kids. I made all the mistakes. I did all the stuff that I did all the stuff. I'm gonna just say that, and I'm here now, and I'm doing things the right way. And the starting point for my kids is not the same starting point that I had, and that's the way it works. So we keep working and working, and hopefully my children create a better starting point for my grandkids, and so forth, right? And we keep educating ourselves and put ourselves in different positions to be fair and be able to give back to the community just by being people from our community doing great, man. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments how you feel about policing.